wrote a really interesting article about Kareem Hunt. You can go and look at that print article on cleveland.com. Take us through that. It's kind of interesting.
And this is one of the areas too where we had Alex Van Pelt earlier this week in a conference call, and he even mentioned with Kareem Hunt, it's a little hard not being able to have him out on the field because he's kind of a guy that Kevin Stefanski didn't have in Minnesota. But I mean, you can look at Kareem Hunt and make the case that he's maybe the best all-around offensive player on this team. When you just look at all the things he can do, his receiving, his running, blocking, all of that stuff. But one of the most skilled offensive players on the team, and yet Nick Chubb is going to handle the bulk of the carries. Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry are your top receivers, so you can kind of do whatever you want to with Nick Chubb. I kind of view him as the third receiver on this team, but he's sort of a souped-up third receiver because you can bring him on end arounds, you can put him in the backfield and let him be the primary back for a series or two. I think he unlocks a lot of things in an offense that wants to create matchup problems, that wants to cause problems for teams that have to play three linebackers against this big personnel. Kareem Hunt could be a nightmare.
Yeah, and that's kind of, again, that's kind of what this offense wants to do is create matchup nightmares. And you got to believe Kevin Stefanski has a lot of toys to play with along those lines when you look at the wide receivers, Hooper and Njoku, Chubb, and Hunt, as you mentioned. That's a lot to account for defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a blessing and a curse because you almost have too many guys, which, when have we ever been able to say that about the Browns? But, there's going to be some decisions they have to make. And I think Kareem Hunt plays a lot into those decisions. It's such a big deal when Rashard Higgins re-signed here. But there's going to come a point where this coaching staff is going to have to sit down and decide who do we want on the field more, Rashard Higgins or Kareem Hunt? Do we want this guy on the field or Kareem Hunt? I think Kareem Hunt's going to win in a lot of those situations just because when he's out there, especially if Nick Chubb is out there too, and Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, it's just one other guy that the defense has to say, we got to find 27, and we've got to make sure that we don't have him in a bad matchup. And the more guys you have out there with him, the harder that's going to be to do.